You know, it's funny, and they probably gonna try to cancel me for saying this, but I don't care. Narcissists, they want the authority of a king, but they tend to possess the accountability of a toddler. Anybody else notice that? Like when you're dealing with a narcissist, they know all the right words to say as to why you should honor them and value them. And the whole time they really swagger jacking a man who has actual integrity, actual character, who's actually put in the work on himself, like an alpha male. They'll cosplay an alpha male and tell you how you should be honoring them like the alpha male that they're not. Meanwhile, expecting you to jump through all of these hoops to prove that you're worthy of the bare minimum. And it's kind of crazy because I'm looking at this email from my sister. I'm doing some late night work. I'm finishing up. And I love these emails, by the way, that y'all are sending me, especially those of y'all who are watching my masterclass, Secrets to Attracting Alpha Males Only. Now, this one kind of threw me off because she watched the entire masterclass. I break down how to recognize an alpha male, how to position yourself for an alpha male. And then at the end, she's asking this question on how she can rise to the occasion for her alpha male. And everything she told me is the exact opposite from an alpha male. Just because a man beat on his chest and claimed that he's so big and bad and he's a real man and he's masculine man, that don't make him an alpha male. So I'll give you, I'm not going to give too much because of course I want to make sure I'm protecting the identity and things like that. But basically the situation that stuck out to me is whenever she was talking about how her man woke her up at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning to make him some food. Not because he works, let me bring you guys a little closer. Not because he works late. Not because, you know, he's disabled. Not because he's sick and shut in. Not because anything like that. He just felt like as a man, he ain't supposed to touch a stove. Now, I'm all for gender roles. I'm all for a man bringing in the bacon and the woman doing the cooking of it and things like that. But we're talking about two people in a household who both work. Okay. Let me be very clear. The only one that's operating in somewhat of a traditional role is the woman, except she's not getting the traditional softness or provision that women of traditional times got. So she's expected to do 50% of the provision while also doing 100% of the nurturing and caring and building and keeping of the home. So at 3 a.m, where she got to get up, go to work in 2 or 3 hours herself, he's waking her up to make him some food. And she's asking basically how she can increase her capacity and find more capacity because she's already stretched thin because she wants to be this good woman for this alpha. It says you must have fell asleep during the masterclass. You had to have something happened. You didn't watch my masterclass. Don't do me like that because ain't nothing about what he just did and that level of inconsideration and that level of man, almost callousness involved in no alpha male. That's not how alpha males move. Alpha males are not, they're not going to be constrained to anybody's traditional roles, gender roles, just to say that they honor those and they're building on those and they go by those. Like alpha males will do what needs to be done. If your woman is stretched thin, if your woman is tired and burnt out and you're an alpha male, you don't care who's the woman that's supposed to do the cooking and clean. You're going to get in there and bust them dishes. You're going to get in there and cook. Or if you can't cook, you're going to order some food. You're going to make sure the house is tidy. You're going to take care of the kids for the night. Because as an alpha male, it's the principle that matters more than the perception or any type of role. It is the principle of you are supposed to be the protector and the provider. You're supposed to double that woman's joys, divide her burdens, even if it means you're doing things that are not normal for a traditional role or whatever. You see, what happens is a lot of times the narcissist will try to leverage this whole, I'm a man. I'm supposed to get the authority. I'm supposed to get the whatever. And they leave out the other parts where, even in the Bible, it says that a man is supposed to love his wife as Jesus loved the church and gave his life for her, meaning a man is supposed to be sacrificial. We're supposed to be giving up something. We're supposed to do without first. We're supposed to be that. It's not supposed to be where as a woman, you sacrificing yourself to try to keep a man happy, to keep chasing that moving carrot, this moving goalpost of what makes you approved as a woman. I know I'm kind of a little passionate here, so I'll slow down a little bit. It really just kind of irks my soul. Again, this woman that's inspired this conversation is sitting there trying to find even more of what her man I use that loosely, doesn't even deserve what he's already taken for granted. And this is just one of the situations, y'all. She got a whole long list of things that no woman in any reasonable context should try to meet as a standard, especially with the lack of consideration he's given. This woman got to wake up and go to work just like him, but she better get up out of her sleep, mess up her REM sleep to go and cook something. Bro, you could have got a sandwich. You could have got a bowl of cereal. You could have got you a banana, something to hold you. You ain't, come on, man. But I digress on that specific thing. I want to make it clear because apparently my masterclass, even though it's helped over 12,000 women already find their alpha male, my masterclass probably must have missed the spot. And if you haven't gotten access yet, I know this is probably bad, a bad testimonial for her, but again, there's 12,000 women who use the strategies that I taught in this masterclass to find their alpha male. So if you want to check it out, it's free. Just comment the word secrets. I'll send it to you. I just put the link down in the comments too. But I want to make it clear for those of y'all who are dealing with a man and you feel like, you're trying your best, or, maybe you've been in a relationship and you tried your best and somehow you still blaming yourself for that fall out of that relationship, or you feel like, nothing that you ever do is good enough. I want to caution you, even as you try to take accountability, to not ascribe a certain level of you to this relationship that doesn't really fit who you truly are because of who you're with. Like, you're in the wrong environment if you're with a narcissist. That's not who you are. Don't define yourself by how you respond to a man who's putting you in survival mode. That's not where you belong. Like, if you're dealing with a man who expects absolute loyalty while his own commitment comes with endless fine print, you're not dealing with an alpha male. You're not dealing with an alpha male. You're dealing with a narcissist. And by the way, when I say narcissist, I'm not trying to diagnose or get you to diagnose. We're talking about somebody who operates with a narcissistic relational style. Maybe it's, situational. Maybe it's right now. Maybe it's only when he drinks. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. I don't really care. Because at the end of the day, you got to protect yourself regardless of what some doctor says or doctor can't say, because he won't even go in to get diagnosed. He won't even go in to get checked. So don't get too technical whenever I say this. Well, I know my man is not because he hasn't been diagnosed by a narcissist or anything like that, man. That might be that Stockholm syndrome. Come on now. I already said they probably gonna try to cancel me for saying this. I don't care. And they can't whoop me because I can fight. But back to what I was saying, when you dealing with a man and, your dedication is supposed to be unquestioning. I'm talking about no matter what, no matter the circumstance, no matter how he treats you, your dedication, your devotion better not have a single blemish. Meanwhile, his devotion has all of these conditions. When he does something wrong, he got all the reasons in the world why you made him do it. He does something wrong, he got all the ways you could have prevented him from being in that situation where he even cared to do it or wanted to do it. But your dedication ain't supposed to come with none of those stipulations. Your faithfulness is supposed to be automatic. His requires constant maintenance. You have to get up every single day and restart the commitment that he made a long time ago. It's up to you to keep up his commitment for him. Now, I'm all for putting in the effort to continue loving on somebody, nurturing the best in them or whatever. I'm not for you getting up every day having to be the sole source of his value system he claimed to come in with already. Yes, the masterclass where I talked about secrets to attracting alpha males only, and I separated those from the narcissists in that masterclass, by the way. I put it down in the comments, but comment the word secrets. For those of y'all looking for the masterclass link, trust me, this is an odd review that I got. She wasn't complaining at all, but I'm telling you, she missed something. I might have to do a part 2. But comment the word secrets. I'll send it to you. He said, I'm married to a narcissist. He's textbook. He really said, hold on, I missed the other part. But let me keep going, man, because I'm gonna try to get to as many questions as I can. But I want you guys to know, like, when you're dealing with somebody who requires complete understanding, yet he has zero interest in understanding you, that's not an alpha male. That's not a man who's just tired from work and you should understand, and you can't expect him as a man to be interested in the things that you're interested in and blah, blah, blah. That's a man who thinks that the relationship equity is one-sided. The relationship respect, the relationship regard should be one-sided, a one-way street. You to him only. Your empathy for his struggles are mandatory, but his for you is optional. If he has time to show it, if he understands or cares to try to understand. Your compassion for any bad day that he might have is expected. He's entitled to it, so he thinks. But his, for yours, is exceptional. Every now and then. Especially when he wants something. This is not king behavior. This is not alpha male behavior. This is a narcissist or a person who's dealing with you with a narcissistic relational style. Like if you listen to his, whatever he got going on, his difficult work situation for hours and hours and hours. Hours and hours. You just listen to him. And then you begin sharing like a challenge that you're facing, and halfway through, he picking up his phone, or, the moment that you pause, he says, sorry, what? I'm just multitasking. He always got something better to do. And then when you look hurt, he sighs and, I can't give you 100% of my attention all the time. That's unrealistic. He always got some type of stipulation that justifies him giving you less than what he expects you to give him. He always got some kind of reasoning or justification. That messed up feeling in the pit of your stomach, that's not sickness. That's your worth recognizing it's being consistently devalued. I want you to understand that you in a relationship, and again, all of these things apply, all of these issues, all of these stipulations, all of these expectations only apply to you. But he wants the authority of a king. He wants the regard. He wants your admiration. But when it comes time for you to say what he's doing or how he could be better, all of a sudden his competence goes back to that of a child, just in a man's body, if he even has that. But you're not dealing with an alpha male. And I'm saying all of this because you got to be careful not to put the blame on you. I feel like a lot of women allow a man, the wrong man, to overstay his welcome in their lives because you're sharing the blame. You're sharing the blame with why he's acting the way that he is, why he's approaching you the way that he is. Because that's the only thing that explains why you'll continue to stay in that relationship. It must be because you think there's something you can improve on. So you're taking time to improve on something, whether it's your patience with him, whether it's your attitude, whether it's how you react to the things that he's doing and not taking accountability for. There's something that you're thinking that you can improve on your end. Maybe you can inspire him to do better, do more. Maybe you could be more flawless. Maybe the thing that you think that you can do better is explaining to him what he needs to do better. Maybe you can find better words, be more respectful in your tone. So it's important that we understand where the onus really lies whenever you're in these types of situations. Of course, it don't apply to everybody. And I'm very adamant about that. It don't apply to everybody. There are men out here who get it. There are men out here who don't move like this. There are men out here who have a healthy sense of masculinity. They truly come to protect you on every level, not just physically. They truly come to provide for you, not just financially. There are men out here who get it, and they don't lead with their ego. They don't lead with their pride. They lead with their principles, first themselves, and then by what you see and how they lead themselves, you feel motivated to follow. They don't have to beg. They don't have to force, guilt trip. They don't have to do any of that. You feel inspired to follow his lead. You feel safe to follow his lead because of how he's leading himself first. Anytime he says something, you don't have to question if he's doing it himself, if he's upholding that standard. There are men out here who get it. I got to be very clear. I want to be as even as possible. Not every man is on this nonsense. And yes, that will be an alpha male. And if you have not dealt with an alpha male, if you have not been loved by an alpha male, I gave you the step-by-step game plan. I gave you the roadmap to your alpha male for free. The link is down here in the comments, or comment the word secrets and I'll send it to you. But when you're dealing with a man and he demands ride or die, endless support with his goals, while he treats yours as cute little hobbies. Come on now. Finish the sentence. That is not an alpha male. That is a narcissist. That ain't no king behavior. You supposed to have your utmost investment in all his dreams as a relationship requirement. But any little thing that he does to support you and what you're interested in and what speaks to you and what you're passionate about, anything he does for you is a generous favor. Optional, extracurricular, at best. Your assistance with anything he's working on is expected. He's entitled to it. He barely even say thank you. But his with you is optional, kindness. Anybody ever been in that situation? Y'all let me know. Y'all ever been in that situation with a man where he expects you to rearrange your whole schedule for his job interview or, whatever, but then calls you selfish when you ask him to attend your art show or to watch the kids for a few minutes so you can get some work done, or you can look into something, or you can sleep in a little bit longer so you can have more energy to go to work yourself, or he can use some time on his day off to take off some of those chores off your plate so you can have a little bit more capacity yourself afterwards. Like, y'all let me know if y'all can understand. You got to be a grown woman to understand some of the situations I'm even talking about. When a man treats your passions like recreational activities, your frustration with that, it's not ambition. It's not because you just want it so badly and he just doesn't see it and that's why you get frustrated. No, it's your purpose recognizing that it's being systematically diminished. It's not that you're just so pursuit of happiness focused and driven and locked in. And so him not getting the vision is just something that it's something, another challenge for you to overcome. What you're feeling is the one-sidedness of that respect and regard and support that is supposed to be mutual. I'm all for you as a woman, or really more specifically, you as a wife being a helpmate. I'm all for that. I'm all for, you want to support his dreams. I am all for that. I'm all for if he's the breadwinner and you are the homemaker, then yes, you're going to be making sure his job is a little easier in bringing home the bread. I am all for that. But there's no part of love that means you diminish who a person is at their core, even if it's not bringing in money. Even if it's not fully developed, even if you're further along, and I'm talking to the men, even if you're further along in what you do, because more than likely you're only further along because you've used up women to support you in a one-sided relationships all up into this place, all up into this space where you're at in your profession. Trigger warning is just like a lot of people in America have done, and they've stepped on the necks of lesser people or second-class citizens or enslaved people or minorities or whatever in order to get their riches up. I know that's kind of going a little bit deep, and I don't typically do that here. But you didn't leverage free labor and all your relationships up until this point. And now you want to sit here and poke your chest out about how professionally advanced you are and bigger than her you are, or more important than her than you are. No, you just been using people. Yeah, they hate the truth. Like I said, they're going to cancel me. I don't care. Honestly, I don't think they can cancel me. Long as y'all keep watching and sharing this content, ain't nobody canceling me. And I say that with all humility because long as somebody is understanding what I'm saying, I'm going to be here. So don't worry about them trying to cancel me. They've been trying a long time, and that's okay with me. They can't whoop me. I can fight. But somebody got to tell the truth. He needs elaborate praise for basic adult functioning. But he offers criticism for even your most exceptional efforts. Don't you find that odd? Your acknowledgement of his minimal contributions, they're supposed to be effusive. They're supposed to be so articulate, so constant, so elaborate, so loud. But any acknowledgement that he makes of yours, even your most your extraordinary accomplishments and things that you do and superhuman ability to not to be overstimulated, overwhelmed, and somehow still find capacity to meet his sexual needs, even when you don't want to. Like all those, man, look, his acknowledgement is reluctant. You're supposed to be enthusiastic anytime he does the most ordinary thing. Come on, man. He won a parade for loading a dishwasher once. But then he responds to your job promotion with, that's cool. Don't let it get to your head, though. They probably just needed to fill, a diversity quota. They probably just needed to get somebody in there that's a woman. Man, look, that deflation that you feel when he talks to you like that, that's not your insecurity. That's not your overthinking. That's not you being too sensitive. That's not you being on your period. That's your accomplishments, recognizing that they're being intentionally minimized. I want to speak to somebody. Watch for the manipulative tactics that cover this up. I never had this problem with anybody else before. Yeah, according to him, that's what he'll say. I hold myself to a much higher standard than anybody else. No, he don't. That's a disconnected reality that he's speaking from, because he actually holds himself to no standard at all while imposing impossible ones on you. But a statement like that, it'll create the illusion of self-accountability while eliminating the practice, which allows him to judge freely without ever being judged by the same metrics. Yeah, Celeste says, OMG, that's what he told me. Don't let it go to your head. I'm telling you right now, I've seen, thousands, on tens of thousands of messages. I read through them. I'm only going to speak on things that I see a pattern in. These dudes, a lot of times, are all the same. Now, when I say all the same, I'm talking about this segment is all the same. Because, of course, there's the alpha male who will never make you feel like that. I always try to be as balanced as possible. The alpha male has no need to put you down in order to feel big and tall. The alpha male feels bigger and taller the more that he elevates his woman, the more that he expands his woman, because he knows that she's a reflection of him. So the more that she glow, the more that she shine, the more he's doing something right. The healthier she gets, the more she smiles, the more at peace she is, the more he must be putting her in good position to do exactly that. The alpha male takes it as a compliment when his woman outshines him or shines in her own right. But y'all be dealing with dudes who is your biggest hater, biggest competitor. Y'all be sleeping with the enemy. And the reason why is not because you have low self-esteem or you don't care for yourself, is that you have been convinced you need to do more. Like I always, and I know I'm kind of going off a little bit, but y'all should stick with me. I hate that whole saying of women mature faster than men or girls mature faster than boys. And it's not that it is no truth to it. I think we're just leaving out the part where we raise girls into women, but we coddle boys to be grown boys in men bodies. That's where a lot of the maturation disparity is. Women are typically held to a much higher standard than even, like y'all just tell me, even in the house, y'all are held to a much higher standard than your brothers. You couldn't dress a certain way. They could. You couldn't have sex at a certain age. They could. You couldn't go out the house and go to this part. They could. You couldn't bring home certain grades, but if they did, I mean, especially if they play in sports, it's okay. I know I'm giving away. This right here is something I typically don't do unless I'm on one of my free master classes, but here we are. So whenever this uneven standard comes up, a lot of women have already been trained to do more to get the same approval. Y'all, a lot of times y'all have bought into this notion that you have to work harder. You have to try more, achieve more. You have to be more poised. You have to be more self-controlled. You have to take on more burdens in order to get the exact same approval in any dynamic that involves a man. I'm gonna keep it real. Like, y'all tell me if I'm tripping. Y'all notice this? And so what that translates to in relationships, because I don't want to lose anybody, is you letting the man overstay his welcome because you are still self-imposing a heavier load on yourself to make things work. Instead of recognizing he had every ability to deal with a lot of these issues and a lot of these things before he got into a relationship. You could recognize that if he wasn't ready to put in the work, he should have never submitted an application and walked away, because it's not on you. That's the whole reason I'm even speaking on this. Stop thinking it's you. Stop thinking the problem is you if you've done your part. Now, if you're one of these other scallywags who out here just taking other girls' men and, you out here using and abusing the good men, I'm not talking to you. But if you're a good woman, you deserve a love that doesn't leave you doing all the work or begging for reciprocity. Now, again, you're not going to get that out of a man unless he is the alpha male version of himself. He has to have evolved and elevated and healed. And I actually went in depth, because I know that's kind of vague. I went in depth in the masterclass about that. How to see the green flags of a true alpha male. How to recognize them. And how to position yourself to receive your alpha male. If you want access to that, if you want access to the free masterclass where I really broke it down, comment the word secrets. I got you. I'll send it to you. I will send it to you. Or comment, or just hit the link down here. You want to get into it right now, just hit the link and you can register. You can get in and watch it right now. But be very mindful of men who move completely opposite of the alpha male. They don't like accountability. They just want authority. They'll say things like, well, if you really love me, I wouldn't even have to explain myself. I wouldn't have to explain any of this, which is the trust weaponization. And it transforms your reasonable request for clarification into evidence of a relationship deficiency, or more so a deficiency on your part. So now what feels off is how it makes understanding him your responsibility, while making himself understandable, his choice rather than his obligation. It makes him being understandable his choice rather than his obligation. I know. I hope that don't go over your head. If you picking up what I'm putting down, put facts down in the comments. If I ain't lost you yet, matter of fact, hit the share button, because we need to get more people into this conversation that can understand what I'm saying. It does require a certain level of emotional intelligence, which I know all of you are, but we need this message to spread to more people. And you might just save somebody's life at the very time that you hit that little arrow, that little share button at the bottom. Because there's a lot of people who need this. A lot of women are dealing with a narcissist right now, trying to overcompensate for all of the ways that he's not showing up in his bare minimum effort. But a man who expects royal treatment while offering toddler accountability, he's not experiencing communication problems. He's executing control strategies. Those contradictory expectations, those aren't relationship confusions, but relationship design. The solution is not meeting the impossible standards, but requiring the same standards from him that he expects from you. You just got to be bold enough to do it. You got to love you enough to do it. You got to be okay with being alone enough to do it. Because the truth is, and always will be, that narcissists, they want the authority of a king, but they have the accountability of a toddler. And like I said before, you can put a crown on the clown. It's not going to turn him into a king. But those are just my thoughts. If you agree, if anything that I said resonates with you and you're bold enough to do this, because I know what I'm saying may ruffle feathers for people on your timeline, so don't do it if you're scared of being judged. I don't care. That's why I'll tell the truth. If you're scared to do it, I'll tell the truth. But if you're bold enough to stand on anything that I said because you know it's also true, find a little arrow down there and hit the share button so you can pay it forward. I'm your internet big bro. You know I got your back. Hopefully this was of value to somebody out there. I'm looking in the comments in just a second. But if you want more in depth, especially on the topic of attracting a true alpha male, Here's the link right here, because you don't have to put up with these narcissists. You don't. You just have to know how to discern the real from the fake. I put the link right here where I break it down how to attract multiple, so you can choose the one that's best for you, but how to attract alpha males. Or comment the word secrets, and I'll send you free access to that masterclass. Holla at y'all, lady. I'll be good, man. Peace.